Welcome to Connect, a program where we explore our connections with the community. And each time I have 2 or 3 guests in the studio where we're exploring their connection with the community. And I'm very happy today to introduce to you Jane Weed-Pomerantz, Stephanie Barron, and Laura Chavez Valdez. And they're talking about positive discipline. And so Jane, can you a little bit talk about what positive discipline is so our viewers can understand?
Happy to do that.
Okay,
I've lived in Santa Cruz now 44 years. Came for the university. I've worn many hats, including being an elected official. But the whole thread is human connection, social change, justice, peace. And I feel very, very honored to be able to do positive discipline work since the mid to late 90s here. And so over time, we've grown and we established a nonprofit almost 10 years ago called Positive Discipline Community Resources. So we can bring more joy and respectful relationships to families in homes and classrooms and the community. And so I'm delighted as we grow in the area. We've expanded to the Central Coast and we're expanding our staff. So we have 2 part-time staff now and are welcoming a new assistant director, Stephanie Barron.
Thrilled to be here, really. I'm so excited to be putting on this new hat as the new assistant director of PDCR. I am a strong Latina woman warrior, currently biliterate, multicultural, and I just graduated UCSC, and so I also came for the university and stayed for the community. It's such amazing work that I've dived into through my undergrad career in research, and seeing the way that positive discipline is really rooted and sourced with the community. And gosh, I'm just so thrilled to be living in my own American dream where I'm being part of this amazing team of empowering women that really I'm just getting paid to learn how to be a better human and implement positive discipline and embody it in my own relationships with my fiance, my 3-year-old, you know, this big cultural paradigm shift really for myself and for our family, which brings us to Laura, our South County woman warrior out in Monterey.
Thank you for inviting us.
You're welcome, Laura.
I found positive discipline in 2006 when my kids were little, and I'm really grateful about that because one of my first trainings, I found that mistakes are opportunity to learn. And I was just amazed about that. Like, can we do mistakes? I was not allowed to do mistakes. And I was not allowing my kids to do mistakes. Now they're 19 and 24. Now they tell me every time that, Mom, remember, mistakes are opportunity to learn. Sometimes it's is, sometimes it's not. But something that I really like about positive discipline is about the connection before correction. And that we have to see more deeper the behavior. There's always something happening behind that child. So the belief behind the behavior is what it keeps me working with parents. I have taught many parenting classes in Watsonville, and now we're growing to Monterey County.
Yeah, we offer this is taught experientially, meaning that people do it. It's not a lot of talking. Well, there's talking, but it's being in the role of a child, or being in the role of a teacher, or the role of a counselor, or a coach, or a mom or dad, and even sister, brother, right? So we teach it through classes and workshops that we invite the broad public to come. And then it goes into schools, preschools, medical clinics. We teach classes in the jail. And so it's so new for people that it's really transforming lives through respectful relationships. So tell me more about how different this is for the folks you're working for.
Today I had a conversation about that, and I'm very passionate about positive discipline, and this is my answer why. Because positive discipline is about building relationship. It's about respect. It's about listening, understanding, and when I started positive discipline, for me it was a really big change because I was not used to it. I was just used to listen to read my mom's or my dad's cues, and that's it. So for me, just changing a little bit that role, it was really difficult, and it was really difficult for my kids too. They were like, "Mom, are you okay?" Because I was asking them like, "Okay, what do you need to be, or to do in order to go outside or something?"
What are your plans?
Yes. Yeah. And they were like, "Are you serious, Mom?" So for me, just taking classes, it made a difference. Also, I said this, I have to spread this. I have to tell parents that we can do it different.
And that it works.
With no punishment. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And most of the classes that I have taught, they ask me, okay, no punishment, so then what? What can we do?
And positive discipline is both kind and firm at the same time. And it's exciting to me because it's really compatible with current brain research, right?
You actually have a theory behind all this?
Well, that's the
brain
joy.
research? Wow, good.
That is an important thing because this is a continuum, really, because we're working with the theory of Alfred Adler, late 1800s and early 1900s, and then Rudolf Dreikurs, and many current-day psychologists, Maslow, Erickson, Glasser, Jane Nelson, and Lynn Lott developed positive discipline. So it's taught experientially, but it is based on a theory of humans and human brains and the need to connection. We're hardwired to connect. So when we're also doing is helping children feel capable in that process of being a part of the family. So it's not power over, it's power with.
It's empowering.
It is empowering. And it is also seeing mistakes as opportunities. Boy, if you ask kids some ideas on what they could do, think about solving a problem, they can come up with the most amazing stuff. And being in that relationship so that they are excited about that. So it's fun over a period of time when we think about brain research and calming down first before we try to find solutions.
Yes.
The work is very exciting in schools because that's where they're looking at social emotional character development and realizing that you can't put academics in without creating a community where people feel safe and welcome and valued and belonging and significance, as we say.
Yes, we need to belong. We need to feel that we belong. And always when I have parenting classes, something that I find really interesting is that most of the parents and mostly the dads, they always believe that I have to hit my kid or I have to punish because that's the way I was raised. And I have some comments about parents, dad saying, "Hey teacher, look at me. I'm a strong worker, I'm responsible, and it's because my dad, and he was really strict with me." And I said, okay, yeah, I understand. But tell me more about your relationship with your dad. And then everything stopped.
Wow.
And I always said, what do you want from here to 20 years? What kind of relationship do you want with your child? When it's summer and your child will say, "Oh, I can't wait to see my mom," or a child that will say, "Oh my God, I have to see my mom this summer." So it's just put them, these parents and ourselves, just thinking and long-term relationships. Positive discipline is not easy. We have to be consistent.
And it's about modeling.
Exactly.
You got to model what we do want to see, not what we don't want to see.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, if I'm flying off the handle, you're just getting those mirror neurons.
Mirror neurons going.
Gosh,
that's right.
and also, I mean, even just connecting back to such like powerful stories that we all honestly we have like in our childhood where our parents did the best that they could do, and we're now as parents we're like, okay, how can I do what they did and not traumatize them in the same way in our own way, of course. And I remember when my parents would be like, okay, we need to get the paleta del amor, or we need to get the pow pows, and and just like afterwards we would hug and we would cry and be like, I don't want to hit you, so you have to listen or you have to learn. And so now with my own son, being able to actually cut that part out, and it doesn't feel great to spank your kid. No one. Whenever you're, whenever you get into that immediate, that immediate feeling that okay, you need to like do something so that way he remembers that he does not need to cross the street because it's dangerous. That's coming from a place of fear because you want them to be safe. And as a young parent, not knowing, okay, like what is another effective way that doesn't leave us both crying in the parking lot after a traumatic experience.
Are you looking for suffering and blame, or are you looking for solutions, and learning?
What about that father who said, you know, my dad, you know, he made me strong.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have anything to do with it.
Right. I don't want to. Now, do you remember him, and do you remember if through, you know, the course that he took, if did he change? Did he?
Yes.
Yes.
So after that question that I said, okay, what kind of relation do you have with your dad now? Like everybody was really like, it was silence, and I was just waiting for the answer, and I couldn't see him that he was suffering in that moment, and he said, I'm not going to answer right now. And I said, that's okay. But he stayed at the end.
Oh. He stayed all the way through the course?
Yeah, look at my chills. And he said, Maestra, I don't talk to my dad. And I said, okay, tell me more. So, but now I'm understanding that he didn't know another way. So I'm going to start building relationship with him. And I said, if you need help, please let me know. And he was part of one of my families that I used to work. And he was not really regular on the classes and the morning classes, but his wife brought him that night. He kept coming every single night. We have 8-week series. He was coming and coming.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
See, it's so transformative that people realize they can use it with every relationship.
Yes.
So it's whether you're meeting with your child's teacher, or whether you're talking with the dentist, or whether you're talking with a coworker or whatever, it is respectful for all relationships.
Exactly.
So people get hungry for it, and they want to come back and learn more. Yeah.
It almost sounds to me, it was like reverse positive discipline, that he now, you know, turned around and hopefully helped his dad, you know. I don't know how far it went, of course, but if he got enough from what you're talking about, and when he started feeling it, because I think that's where, you know, he needs to, you know, internalize it. But once he did that, maybe he got some positive change with his dad.
It becomes a feedback loop that goes up instead of down.
Yeah, and something that Stephanie mentioned, it's about being in a place where you're too permissive, right? And then everything's get out of control, and then you get too controlling and punished.
The inconsistency.
And when you hit, in that moment you're not thinking, right? Your brain is not thinking, you're reacting. And then you hit, and after that, how do you feel? Oh my gosh. You can cry, you can go at night crawling to your kids and say, I'm so sorry, tomorrow is going to be another day. And tomorrow is the same pattern.
Until we learn
what
new
can we
skills.
do?
Until you get the tool.
Right?
So Maya Angelou, the famous poet, had this statement that I did what I knew until I knew better. And so what positive discipline is about is actually practicing the skills every day, so that it becomes more part of your muscle memory, and then you have a feedback loop where you're becoming more deeply connected with people, so that's good, and you're getting things done. I mean, I will say, if I helped my kids do anything, and now they're adults, well into their adult life, it's that they felt capable.
Exactly.
And they felt that their ideas were valued, and now there's nothing in the world they cannot do. And I tell you, that's the leadership we need for tomorrow.
And most of the time when parents come to us for a parenting class, it's because they think like, can you help me to fix this child? Because I don't know what to do with him. And I said, okay, or they ask for counseling. And I said, have you tried parenting classes? And I said, no, he's the one that has a problem. I don't have any problem. And I said, okay, I invite you to come. Positive discipline is about helping parents. We have to work with parents, and then they will work with kids.
They're experts of their own.
This is amazing. We have to get the adult first to get results.
It's interesting. I remember I used to be a principal in Barron, school district, and there was this mother, and I remember we were standing on the steps, and she was picking up her child because he had to go home because he was this unbearable in class. And so she picked him up, and then she turned around and she said, you know, my son, he wants everything from me. He wants to go to the store, and he wants this. And if I don't give it to him, you know what he tells me? She said, the kid was 4 years old, 5 years old, in kindergarten. She said, he tells me he's going to kill himself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I said, and you believe him? She said, yeah. You know, she was real nervous. So I took them, first I took him aside, and I took her aside. And, you know, I obviously encouraged her to go get some parenting classes. And at that point, I didn't know about the positive discipline, but she needed something. She needed to get some control. Mm-hmm. She indeed said, you know, pushing the kid, why don't you talk to him and make sure that he behaves? And yes, I did talk to him, and, you know, we went through the thing. And, you know, what we do in school is usually supportive of the kids, and they know that we love them, and, you know, we show them all kinds of nice things. But I also talked with her, and I said, you know, he's 5 years old. He's already telling you that you have to give him anything, the money, the phone, anything. And I said, there is help. And, you know, at that point, you know, I sent her someplace else, not knowing about positive discipline. Had I known, that would have been a perfect place for her.
So I think that's the thing. People go, oh, positive discipline doesn't use punishment, so that means it's permissive.
Mm-hmm. No.
And the point is that it is kind and firm at the same time. And we have trouble thinking about how can you be firm without being forceful and harsh. And there is so many ways you can do that by just being there, being present, and holding them accountable.
Sometimes
thinking about problems and working it out ahead of time.
I just held the kid's hand.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, you're
connection, right?
That's exactly. I made the connection with and I, you know, sometimes you don't know why you do things. I mean, you have your whole theory and all that behind it, and I just went basically on instinct and my experience with kids. And at some point, I just held his hand, and I said, you know, you like coming to school, right? Oh yeah, he likes coming to school now. You like doing this, and I said, you know, do you think it helps if you do that to your mother? And so he kind of looked like, well, that's a difficult question, but, you know, slowly, and, you know, and then of course I handed it over to the teacher because I had so many other kids. But the teacher then worked with this child and the mother a little bit, and then I think the mother did get some help. But this is serious. I mean, can you tell a 5-year-old tells his mom, if you don't give me this, I'm going to kill myself?
What we also talk about is establishing routines.
Yeah.
Okay, because then the routines become the boss, and they're learning all these other skills too about time management, what their preferences are for, you know, order of brushing teeth versus washing face. I mean, empowerment at that level means that you don't have to be empowered, trying to be empowered over others or getting them to be manipulated by you or getting attention, all the attention, you know. So we help people understand the belief behind the behavior and then work with the child to come up with solutions. And in that case, with a 4-year-old, he was needing routines.
Right.
You know, Tuesdays of the day we go to the grocery store, not just whenever I want, you know, and there is a rhythm to your day, that causal thinking piece where people know that they can trust structure. And so that's a piece of firmness, is having structure and routine. There's lots of ways
Routines
to
are the boss.
Yeah, to be firm. You do not have to. It's follow through, and the beauty of follow through.
That's why it's so
with dignity and
hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And you say, no, maestra, this doesn't work, because it's not going to change from one week to another. You have to be consistent. Another hat that I have is just I'm a coach, so I go to many preschool sites and I work with teachers. Okay, and then I really worry about the environment and about curriculum, because they have to do it right. And I said, stop, and observe what you have. Look, you have many kids that depend on you. Relationships are the foundation. And many also kindergarten teachers said, please, we don't need your kids to know numbers, to know colors. We just want them to listen and sit and be able to auto-regulate. So it's really interesting.
Yes, that's the big thing about people. Why do you call it positive discipline? And we call it positive discipline because it's building the internal locus of control, right? When we talk about punishment and rewards, we're talking about the external locus of control. So that's why at those early years, helping children begin to know to self-regulate so that they can be in group and know appropriate cues. And teachers need observation skills. So it's
Yes.
Monterey County is very lucky to have you to be
I'm
out
sorry.
there.
Oh, yes.
To be out there helping these teachers.
Monterey
help
County
families.
is doing an amazing job because they're just thinking about 0 to 5.
Yeah.
You know, and they're thinking the importance now. They saying we need more parenting education on Monterey County, and I think PVUSD also they have they know the importance of parenting classes in the schools and
Yes, Todd Westfall
yes
at Calabasas Elementary School talked about the triangulation. When you've got the administration, teachers, parents, and students all in the same constellation, it is so enriching. And that's why positive discipline community resources really pushes the ecological model, where the being in relationship and having communication skills and using similar language can be everywhere. So it's not just teachers over students or bosses over workers or whatever. It's part of a community that has a kind of a shared vision
And a shared
for
language.
respect.
I kind of hear you
Shared
say, you know,
what?
shared language.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I hear you talk about encouraging, empowering, building community. And I think, you know, maybe those words may be too big for a kindergarten, but you can teach that in the activities you do with them.
Yes.
And then, like I said, then all of a sudden they become aware of those terms of encouragement, and you know, with each other, with their
And they
parents,
model it.
and model it, and they then can make that decision for themselves. I like it.
And I love how Jane has put it before, that we know what teachers are up against, and you've been in the education field for long enough to know that we are, you know, bombarding them with, you know, all the new and latest trends of, you know, what research shows and what new things to try in the classroom. But please use your example of the plate.
Oh, okay.
And how we are the plate.
People say you cannot give it. My plate is too
Full.
full. I cannot take anything else. But really, if you look at this beyond the surface, you realize that it is not added to the plate. It is the plate. And we don't mean to be presumptuous that there's not always going to be innovation and new ways to do things. Because I think I take my hat off to the education profession in terms of what they're doing with children and understanding learning styles and all of those things, and appropriately responding to special needs.
Trauma informed.
What is being trauma informed. And so again, this is kind of back to the basics of being in human relationships with a shared vision, thinking collectively. Gemeinschaftsgefühl is the word that Alfred Adler coined, and that means a sense of social interest, that we're all in this together. And so when I drive from here to Monterey and I look out at those fields and I see those workers, I know they love their children just as much as I love mine. And we want to give our kids the very best tools. And we live in times when we really need to work together to find some solutions. So I'm excited about how this communication styles fits in to what the world needs right now in terms of building a culture of respect.
And I just love that it aligns with what our core values are. You know, we are a loving culture. We are, as Latinx, you know, Chicanos, Chicanx, like we love our children, we love our parents, and we have so much respect. And so now thinking of approaching our kids with that same level of dignity and giving choices and being loving and firm, and at the end of that, you know, before even getting to correcting them, just connecting with them and, you know, okay, it looks like you're having a bad day, like, do you need a hug, you know, do you, like, let's take a deep breath, like, okay, you know, you just go hang out for a second in your chill corner and then we'll reconnect, you know. And so I see the transformative effects that positive discipline can have, and I have only just begun this journey.
It's really interesting because I was just thinking about respect, what we think respect is, right? And I came to the United States in 1994, and for me, just living in a country that is not my language, it's not my culture, it was really difficult. And I thought that respect was to listen and shut up, right? And I was doing
no eye contact and
yes,
looking down.
And but I think now that I was combining respect with fear. That was the translation. So if they're afraid of me, I'm doing a good job.
Well, that's so we can break that paradigm.
Yes.
And I have to take my hat off to Adler, who was an egalitarian. He believed that everybody carries their own separate reality and private logic. We come from many backgrounds, but we can learn to respect that and find a way to be together. So I'm really excited we had this opportunity to connect with you.
I know. I mean, I hear a lot of stuff about connecting what you're doing. I mean, even beyond what I thought you did. But this cannot be easy work. I mean, you know, you're getting paid to do a bit part-time paid. How do you get your funding? I mean, are people paying for the classes? Are you writing grants?
We have lots of scholarships.
Yeah, lots of scholarship. Our grants are really, you know, having grants in order to not make it about the money, so that people can access this, and you know, without need of worrying of, can I cover the cost of the materials and the class fees. And so we really try and take care of the community and leave the back end stuff to me. Don't worry about it.
Well, we have grants and we have contracts and we have donations.
Well,
and
that's
we
what I'm
appreciate
saying.
it.
I mean, so people are watching at home and they say,
yeah.
"Guys, this is good work," because you know I'm listening to you. I'm older. I'm gray and all that stuff. But your work makes my life in my community better, because you know a child that is misbehaved is usually because there's a lot of
They're
insecurity
discouraged,
and
yeah.
they're discouraged. So I like what you're doing, so I will donate.
So go to our website.
Yes,
All
our
right.
beautiful redesigned website.
It's a wonderful website, very interactive, free tip sheets on pain edge problems, and so many
Scantron's
resources.
sheet, my
Yeah.
favorite.
And in Spanish too.
In Spanish,
Spanish.
in
You can
Espanol
bring them.
también, and it's pdcrcc.org.
And it's on the screen. And Laura, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
And so sign up for
Stephanie.
classes. We constantly have workshops, classes, all of our materials. You know, we try and keep it bilingual and accessible. And, you know, definitely please connect with us, call us, email
Excellent.
us. Excited about
And
it.
Jane, thank you. Thank you for reconnecting with me and bringing this very important topic. And so we are running out of time. Thank you so much. Watch us again next time.